Chapter 6. The Long Red House. The house shows its ribs, soaked by the cold. Inside, a spider gathered the dry wings of cockroaches. There are crumbs of memory in each corner. Brisieda Cuevas Cobb, from the original Mayan. At the edge of the school was the long red house, next door to the boulder stone house of Mr. Rose. Once a stop on the Underground Railroad, now on a truck route, where all the semis would hit the same pothole with a colossal boom all night long. Feeling okay but legally sick, I became a ghost in that long red house where I was born, asleep in the zone of potentialities as the dust filtered down. For 50 years I walked the halls in dream, sometimes as they were, sometimes empty, with the lights of the cars on the street passing over the walls, apparitions like me. I walked those halls maybe 3 or 4 times a year, running my hand over the back of my bedroom door, over the chipped surface that I'd made with my Bowie knife, as I threw that heavy blade in frustration at my developing lot. Walking with me were other events, hibernating in time's wormholes, like standing on the register at 4 years old while my dad chased my fast big brother round the table, and my sister and mother were crying in this fog of pandemonium, and my mom tried to intervene. He shouted something, slapped my mom, and her glasses flew off and landed at my feet, and I stared at the revered glasses that I was not allowed to even touch. I returned to my room in shock and closed the door, that I would scar with my Bowie knife in later years. Such dreams and memories tapered off, long before running into Bill forced me to rehash our divine comedy, perpetually unfolding in a corner of dream's labyrinth at the mouth of heaven. The school put the long red house to use as storage after they fired my dad. Blue vinyl siding was the beginning of the end. It was never lived in again after my dad moved into his mother-in-law's attic in defeat, until they demolished it a couple of years ago, but I still hear the timbers creak in the wind now and then. It passed many winters empty, the gray snow blowing in off Lake Erie, through the snow fence and under the loosely fitting door, as cars with chains ground past. Lake Erie was an icy lake of ire in winter, and all that chaos battered the old frame structure. Sensations like my dream of airy whiteness going purple to lead haunted my wandering, coagulating my chrysalis into my routine in those liminal days. Each morning I'd awake to the sound of my parents going to work. Brother and sister already moved on. It was just us 3, and I was becoming a ghost. I'd lollygag in bed, turning back into sleep until I figured it was about time for the shows that structured my day. I'd go down in my underwear, turn the thermostat up to 90, and stand on the register listening for the car-sized gas furnace below to burst into flame, and I'd stand still until the metal started burning my feet, and I was overheated enough to go make a bowl of cereal in the cold kitchen, then race to the couch and TV and the soft wool blanket. If I was lucky, the Dick Van Dyke Show was nearly over, though she did look good in pants. When the banjos sounded, I knew the day had actually begun. The Beverly Hillbillies was one world in my rustic fantasies. I'd seen most all of them, and I still liked them, anticipating every gag. When that was sadly over, Bewitched began. The guy was frustrating, but she looked like my brother's wife, and so my mind would wander to the summer before, when I was looking for the edge, hoping to awake from a Steel Town fantasy. Somehow I'd talked my brother into driving the car my parents gave him for college up to the Arctic Circle, and I saw her walking naked by glacial lakes and compared her body unfavorably to the Playboy bunnies I'd seen, attempting to choke it off to the neighbor's collection. The unpaved Alcan Highway demolished the car. The windshield was broken in 9 places by gravel the size of grapefruit that scraped and dented the underside and chipped the paint off the front of the car. But we made it to the end of the dirt road at the Yukon River, where trappers came and went in long motorboats loaded with supplies. And there was a store piled with traded wolf pelts, where they sold rifles and ammo and sacks of stuff like in an old western. This was the place to actually buy all the actual goods necessary to live the actual picture I constructed from a book I borrowed from my friend Ricky, Wild Woods Wisdom. This made the movie I talked into the phone to Nina night after night. We could escape the Buffalonian bleakness and industrial decay and live in eternal nature. I kept that dream kicking over even though I'd seen the reality and saw I wasn't the least bit fit for it, but I wasn't interested in reality. After Bewitched came I Dream of Jeannie, which was boring, save for the bare midriff and bulging bosoms, which would drive me up to the shower to yank it off and watch a potential city swirl down the drain. Then an hour or so in the shower, maybe yank it off again if I didn't get all the suburbs, and then down for a little lunch. I'd go up and put on something more than underwear, but something less than street clothes, to face the darkest part of the day when only soap operas were on, and the click of the clock was painful. I'd listen to the distant R&B sounds of WBLK like it was Radio Free Europe. When my parents came home, I'd go to my room and look at the pictures in Wild Woods Wisdom and plot the elusive Alaskan lifestyle till it was time to call Nina, while they had cocktails and cooked and discussed the school's parallel reality. We'd eat dinner in front of the TV news and usually have an argument about the war in Vietnam. My mother and I were mostly against the war. My dad, with the alcohol and the seconal, thought Western civilization had become a house of cards, and he'd start quoting someone like Thucydides to make his point. After dinner, he'd go read on another couch, waiting for 8 to sneak to bed, hoping my mother wouldn't yell at him for going to bed so early, like he did every night. Then I'd go and get my real clothes on, a thin jean jacket, sweater, and jeans, and head for the door, feeling the obstinate pointlessness of my life. Where are you going? Out. Walking the cold, cold streets till my legs go numb, buying cigarettes at the machine in the entry of the Chinese restaurant, tempting the dogs in the back lot of the garage, walking, 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 sometimes stopped by the cops, chain smoking, hoping I could get past the bad flavor of the stale Chesterfield shorts. Then go to my room until my mom came upstairs, and I'd go down and put the speakers together, and put my head between them and dream on Up from the Sky. I just want to know about the rooms behind your minds. Do I see a vacuum there, or am I going blind? Until it was time for Johnny Carson, and I'd imagine myself a guest on the show. Each day a similitude of the next, forming a white creamy patch of memory. I shed my sweater as the spring came, and my jean jacket as the summer came, but that was the only difference.